Why does Los Angeles keep on burning? There are more than 7,000 wildfires happening every year in the state of California, burning thousands of houses, schools, and hospitals. We know it's a problem, so why does this keep happening? Why is it so hard to put out the fires in Los Angeles? Is it an act of God? Is it Mother Nature going through menopause? Or is it something more preventable? Let's start with the basics. What actually starts these wildfires? Turns out around 85% of wildfires are caused by human activity. And no, it's not always some guy with a flamethrower shouting, "Now this will blow up my TikTok." Here's how it actually happens. First, there are power lines. California's electrical grid is so old it could probably apply for Social Security. One spark from a downed line during a windy day and boom, a forest becomes a bonfire. Utility companies like PG&E have been linked to some of the most destructive fires in the state. Basically, imagine if your Christmas lights started burning your house down every December. Then there's vehicles and equipment, hot car exhaust, flat tires throwing sparks. Yes, even your Honda Civic can moonlight as a fire starter. Fun fact, the 2018 car fire, which burns over 200,000 acres, started because the trailer had a flat tire. So next time someone says, check your tires, maybe listen. And let's not forget about campfires and fireworks. People still think it's a good idea to roast marshmallows in the middle of the fire season, or to celebrate the 4th of July with the phrase, "Hold my beer." Spoiler alert, neither ends well. But hey, don't worry, it's not all our fault. Mother Nature is also in on it. Sometimes lightning strikes during dry conditions, igniting massive wildfires. And of course, we have the infamous Santa Ana winds. These dry, powerful gusts of wind that don't just spread fire, they hurl it across highways and into neighborhoods faster than a Kardashian divorce settlement. So now we know why the fires are happening, but why they're always happening in California. First, vegetation. California has forests, shrublands, and grasslands that are basically nature's version of lighter fluid. After months of drought, this dry vegetation becomes tender, waiting for a spark. It's like California's flora collectively decided, we're flammable now, deal with it. Then there's climate change. Rising temperatures and longer summers mean the state is drier than ever. Add in a drought that refuses to quit, and you've got recipe for disaster. It's like California decided to do a crossover event between Mad Max and Dune, except that nobody's waiting for the Lisan Algavi anymore. We just want a firefighter. And don't get me started on California's topography. I know, I said a tricky word. Hear me out. I'm talking about California's mountains and canyons that create the perfect wind tunnels for fires to spread. And finally, there's urban sprawl. People keep building houses in areas known as wildland-urban interfaces. Basically neighborhoods where nature meets humanity. These areas are gorgeous, but also giant fire hazards. Think of them as beachfront properties in hurricane zones, except there's a bit less hurricanes and a lot more fire insurance claims. All of this makes California a powder keg. Fires here don't just happen, they explode. Because here's the kicker. Once these fires start, putting them out isn't as simple as dumping a bucket of water on it. I know, that was also my go-to solution. In California, the fires are next level for a few reasons. First, there's the scale. These aren't campfires. They're massive infernos covering thousands of acres of land. Firefighters can just show up with the hose and say, "All right, we're done here." They have to create fire breaks, which are strips of land cleared of vegetation to stop the fire from spreading, and strategically contain the blaze, which can take days or even weeks. Second, the terrain. Fires love to start in steep, hard-to-reach places because, of course they do. Firefighters are forced to hike in with heavy equipment, battling flames that move faster than your 5-year-old nephew on a sugar rush. Third, there's the wind. Santa Ana winds turn a controlled fire into a chaotic inferno faster than you can say, "Call 911!" And let's not forget about the terrifying phenomenon of firenadoes. Yes, literal fire tornadoes. It's like nature looked at regular fires and thought, let's take this up a notch, shall we? Finally, there's a lack of resources. California's fire crews are stretched thinner than a vegan pizza crust. With fire season now lasting almost all year, crews are overworked, underfunded, and often relying on inmate firefighters. That's right, because nothing says we're ready for anything like making your emergency plan sound like the plot of Ocean's 11. Alright, so if we know LA fires are hard to stop, and if we know California is the perfect place for fires to happen, why aren't we doing anything to prevent this? To avoid having to deal with those horrors in the first place? Well, here's the ugly truth. We knew the fires were coming, but we didn't put enough effort and money in preparing for them. Firefighters have been ringing the alarm for years about the underinvestment in fire prevention. The forests need regular controlled burns to reduce dry vegetation that could light up at any moment. I know what you're thinking. Is there any hope for us? Can we save Los Angeles and California from becoming the world's most flammable tourist destination? The short answer is yes. The long answer is 1. We must fix the power grid. California's power lines need an upgrade. If we can make phones that can fold in half, we can definitely make power lines that don't catch fire. 2. We must invest in prevention. Prescribed burns and forest management might not be sexy, but they're effective. Think of it like cleaning your room. It's easier to maintain than deal with a disaster. 3. We gotta adjust the urban planning. Maybe, just maybe, we pause on building homes in places that look like the set of Dune 3. And 4, we gotta tackle climate change for real. Yeah, I know this one's ambitious, we would need the whole world to agree on it, but think about it. Fewer greenhouse gases means fewer fire NATOs. And the only NATOs the world needs more of right now are Sharknado movies. Best franchise of all time. Hands down. So to wrap this up, LA's wildfires aren't just natural disasters. They're a product of human behavior, climate change, and a lot of bad planning. But the good news is, we have the tools to fix it. It's time to stop playing defense against fire and start going on the offense. Because until we do, LA will keep burning, both literally and metaphorically. And who's gonna make your movies? Your cousin who went to film school for 6 months? Think about it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to stay in touch with the news.